Insellmilkom, Sinjuri, ningrazzjakom li qed issegwu l-programm illum. Għaddej il-ġuri tal-każ tal-qtil ta' Daphne Caruana Galizia u għalhekk illum sankellmu lil Dr. Edward De Bono dwar il-każ biex jagħtina ftit background u biex jispjegana x'inhu għaddej. Jekk għandkom xi kummenti passoltu ibatu il-kummenti tagħkom fuq in-numru li jidher fuq l-iskrin. Dr. Edward De Bono jidher ħafna wkoll fuq il-programmi ta' Net TV, speċjalment Net Live, u għalhekk inħeġġiġkom jekk tixtiequ tisimgħu dak li għandu jgħid fuq is-suġġett tal-lum bil-Malti issegwu Net Live. Thank you very much, Dr. De Bono, for giving us an update on the Daphne Caruana Galizia case. For those who maybe haven't watched before or are watching for the first time, can we give an update, a bit of background?
I think the first question which we have to answer is, who was Daphne Caruana Galizia? She was a first-class investigative journalist, a blogger, an anti-corruption campaigner. She was known for her reporting on political corruption, organized crime, money laundering, and links with big business and political interference in the administration of justice. She was a person who got under the heels of the Labour government post-2013-2016. She was a pain in the neck for them. And the state did nothing to protect her against the insidious attacks which described her as a witch, which described her as a woman of low repute, which tried to demonize her. And ultimately, they succeeded in the job in exterminating her. They assassinated her brutally by killing her in a car blast which brought not only the car, but her into smithereens. So this is the basis, this is the background of the person we are dealing with. They took away her humanity because she was uncovering corruption.
It-2-16 ta' Ottubru 2017. Kien ftit wara t-tokki ta' 3 ta' wara nofsinhar li bdiet tiġri l-aħbar li ħażdet pajjiż u samret nazzjoni. Il-ġurnalista Daphne Caruana Galizia ġiet assassinata wara li tpoġġiet bomba mal-karozza li kienet qed issuq. Esplużjoni li seħħet ftit il-bogħod mir-residenza tagħha fil-Bidnija. Għall-bosta, Daphne Caruana Galizia kienet biss lead wara il-pinna tal-blog Running Commentary. Tikteb fuq varjetà ta' temi b'mod mill-aktar partikolari ġurnaliżmu investigattiv dwar l-iskandli tal-Gvern tal-Ġurnata immexxi mill-eks mexxej tal-Labour Joseph Muscat. Iżda hi kienet aktar minn hekk. Daphne kienet bint, ħabiba u kollega. Il-pinna tagħha kienet tvarja mix-xogħol investigattiv għall-arti, kultura u saħansitra tisjir. Il-qtil makabru ta' Daphne Caruana Galizia fl-età ta' 53 sena eżżes mhux biss lil pajjiżna iżda wkoll ħalla marka madwar id-dinja. Il-kitba tal-ġurnalista kienet tintlaqa minn tifħir iżda wkoll minn kritika, illi xi minn daqqiet kienet wassal ukoll għal biża li waslet għal qtil tagħha. Assassinju li xpruna moviment kontra il-mibeda u favur il-libertà tal-espressjoni, favur il-protezzjoni tal-ġurnalist u favur bidla fil-mentalità. Minkejja kollox, minkejja sejħa wajta soda ta' poplu, għadet nistennew illi r-rakkomandazzjonijiet li ħarġu minn inkjesta pubblika brabta ma' qtil ta' Daphne Caruana Galizia jiġu eżegwiti. Minkejja d-diskors frivolu u retorika politika ta' gvern laburista, fix-xhur u l-jiem illi għaddew Il-Prim Ministru xorta attakka mhux biss lil uħud mill-ġurnalisti billi implika li huma konfoffa mal-babaw tal-establishment, iżda saħansitra immina il-kredibilità ta' membri mill-ġudikatura għas-sempliċi raġuni li mexxew fil-konfront ta' Joseph Muscat u l-ex-Ministri Chris Fern, Konrad Mizzi u Edward Cicluna fost oħrajn. Prabta mal-qtil ta' Daphne Caruana Galizia waslet l-ammissjoni tal-aħwa Alfred u George Giorgio flimkien ukoll ma' Vince Muscat li ammettew li kienu huma l-eżekuturi. Madankollu, illum, 7 snin wara, għadna ma nafux min kien jew kienu il-moħħ wara dan l-att makabru. U aktar minn hekk x'kienet ir-raġuni wara din il-brutalità.
She had threats before all this happened.
Absolutely. All throughout her journalistic life, particularly from 2013 onwards, the threats started increasing, not twofold, but tenfold. But the most important thing that people should understand is that she was the perfect representation of the Fourth Estate. What is the Fourth Estate? The Fourth Estate is the media, it's journalism, it's freedom of speech, it's the free press, where one could express himself freely to get a better administration of public administration. And this wasn't going down too well with the powers that be. They wanted to try and eliminate her in all possible ways and fashions. And they did. We know what happened, that 3 people, the executioners, were condemned by the courts, George De Giorgio, Alfred De Giorgio, and Vincent Muscat. Vincent Muscat, who arranged a plea with the Attorney General, was given 15 years imprisonment, whilst the De Giorgio brothers are serving 42 years in imprisonment. But these are not the real people who one should go after. They are the executioners. They should actually remain and go to prison and serve the sentence. But apart from them, there are the mandators who actually sent these people to murder, to assassinate Daphne Caruana Galizia. And 2 years after down the line, there were allegations that Jürgen Fenech was the mastermind of this assassination. Reputedly, he paid about 500,000 euros to the executioners to commit this crime. But was Jürgen Fenech on his own? Was he there as a decoy for other people who were behind this serious crime? Jürgen Fenech has to serve and has to answer for his alleged crimes. We know that there are tapes between him and Melvin Toma which include him in this crime. And he has to answer. We are still waiting that this jury will actually come to the fore. Although 7 years have passed since Daphne's murder in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, 16th October 2017, we're still not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. There are still a lot of preliminary pleas which are being debated in court before Jürgen Fenech will actually stand trial. Since his arrest, 5 years have passed, and according to our law, he could ask for him not to remain in, he could ask for bail.
And he is out on bail.
He actually got bail, and he is out running about the streets in the most free manner, maybe signing once or twice a week at a police station in the meantime. So, at this particular moment in time, this is the situation with regards to Daphne's murder. But there is a corollary to all this. On Thursday, 24th of April, Madam Justice Edwina Grima started hearing a jury where 4 accused are standing trial. That is, the brothers Robert Agius and his brother, and Jamie Vella and George De Giorgio, accused on 2 different types of accusations. The first accusation is that concerning the murder of Dr. Carmel Kirkop, and the second accusation is that they supplied the bomb to actually explode Daphne Caruana Galizia into smithereens.
Can we pause here and can I ask you to shed some light on the case of Dr. Carmel Kirkop?
Dr. Carmel Kirkop reputedly had loaned some monies, hundreds of thousands of euros, to the Maksar brothers, that is the Agius brothers, and maybe with the involvement of Jamie Vella, but I'm not sure about this particular aspect. Jamie Vella is definitely involved in the Caruana Galizia supply of the bomb. But he loaned them reputedly money. He was asking and demanding that he should be paid back his money, which he had loaned them. And for some reason or other, they didn't pay under the terms of the agreement which they had. And allegedly, they murdered this lawyer.
Il-ħamis filgħodu, f'kumpless ta' garaxxijiet f'Birkirkara jinqatel l-avukat Carmel Kirkop, missier ta' 51 sena. Net News illum tkellem ma' oħt u om il-vittma. Martes tirrakkonta kif saret taf bil-qtil ta' huwa.
Irċivejt messaġġ fuq il-mobile li sar inċident qtil f'Birkirkara. Laqgħu il-ħin ċemplit li joħti u qalt li il-qara sar qtil ċempel l-ħija u ma wieġibnix. Ftaqgħu il-ħin tiġi kuljum Kirkop u dak il-ħin tani jisu ħażin u mbagħad oħti qalt li ġejjin għalik hawnhekk. Ftaqgħu il-ħin għadni ma nafx li jiena u sibta ommi. ħassa ħażin ħajtu li bil-mod. Għettilhom orajt, nistennaw. Mbagħad il-barat tal-isptar, il-managers qalu li ejja ħalli noħduk daqsxejn saddar, ħalli tagħti naqra aħbar lil-mami għax ħuk u.
Martes tirrakkonta l-aħħar darba li ltaqet ma' huwa.
Jiena sibt rajtu
l-ħamis.
għax ħanamlu il-qabar u mort mal-miegħu ħanamlu l-ħama u tajna ġewx ritratti ta' papa u tal-kuġin u issa ġejt tiegħu. Nirringrazzja lil kulħadd tal-għajnuna li tawna u nixtieq li jinqabad imma nixtieq iħoss li għandu kuxjenza bħali li ma jagħmilx il-ħadd ieħor bħal ma għamel lil-ħija l-menu. Ma nafx li jagħmel azzjoni ħażina lil-ħija imma hekk nixtieq u naħfrulu.
ċemplit li fuq it-telefon uħt ir-raġel, Soru Franġiskana, u qalt li biex ninċekkja Facebook, hekk kif kien hemm rapporti li avukat Karkaris instab mejjed b'tiri tal-arma tan-nar. Kien b'dan il-mod li Mary Rose Kirkop, viżibilment emozjonata, irrakkontat kif skoprit li żewġha instab mejjed, dellit fid-daħla ta' kumpless ta' garaxxijiet biswit l-iskola ta' Birkirkara fl-2015. Min hemm, il-mara tiegħu ġiet lejn l-assa fejn ingħatat l-aħbar mill-ispettur. Irrakkonta kif binna seta' kien miegħu fil-ħin tad-delitt li kieku ma kienx għal lezzjoni mħassra l-università. Dan ħareġ waqt ix-xhieda taqsim il-qalb li dwit fl-awla 22 quddiem il-Maġistrat Caroline Farrugia Frendo fil-kumpilazzjoni li għaddejja fil-konfront tal-aħwa Robert Wadri Naġus tal-Maksar, Jamie Vella u George De Giorgio ċ-Ċiniż, il-koll mixlija bil-qtil tal-avukat Carmel Kirkop fl-2015 u tal-ġurnalista Daphne Caruana Galizia fl-2017. Fil-qorti, Mary Rose Kirkop spjegat li huma kienu se jiċċelebraw il-35 anniversarju ta' żwieġ tagħhom u fil-ġurnata tal-assassinju żewġa telaq mid-dar fis-7:15 filgħodu fil-ħin li s-soltu jmur għax-xogħol. Meta pruvat iċċempel tliet darbiet u ma qabadix, ħasbet li ħalla l-mowbajl warajh, iżda ma kellux ikun. L-avukat Kirkop kien baqalu jieħu ma' 600,000 minant Erom Limited li tagħha wieħed mill-akkużati Adrian Aġus kien direttur, war li kien silifhom ma' 750,000 f'tisħiħ ta' djun li sar fl-2014 biex jintraddu lura fuq sena. Aġus kien waqalura fil-pagamenti ma' żewġa li fl-2015, war li kienet għaddiet id-data ta' skadenza tal-ftehim, kien offrud villa f'Baħar iċ-Ċaq biex jaqtaw id-djun. Iżda meta ma jorawha, din ma tantx laqtithom. Wara 3 ġimgħat, wara diskursata li kellu ma' Adrian Aġus privatament f'kafetterija fin-Naxxar, Mary Rose minn fuq mejda oħra rnexxiela tisma' l-aħħar ftit tad-diskursata li kellu żewġa fejn staqsih. Allura settin il-ħlasijiet u xekk. Darb'oħra waqt vaganza Venezja u Ruma l-anniversarju, il-mara semet telefonata li fija qal: Adrian diġà qbis xi pagamenti, it-tnejn mhux se nkun l-uffiċċju, ejja tlieta. Bl-armla tikkonferma li żewġa ma rċevix il-flus. 5 xhur wara qtil, Adrian Aġus fetaħ kawża biex jannulla l-ipoteka ta' djun fuq il-proprjetà u wara l-ewwel smigħ intlaħaq bil barra l-qorti fuq il-pagament tas-self ta' 165,000 fuq bilanċ ta' 600,000 għaliex kemm Mary Rose u binha rridu jaqtawha darba l dejjem. Intant fil-kumpilazzjoni ta' tlieta xedet l-ispettur Orjana Spiteri li qalet kif kien ċertu wieħed Wistin Grixti li sab lil Kirkop mixħud fl-art tir f'sidru, tir fuq il-bib tal-garax u ieħor mal-ħajt. Intant fl-istess seduta xed ukoll l-ispettur Kurt Zara li ta' ġabra ta' sekwenza ta' avvenimenti mill-assassinju ta' Daphne Caruana Galizia sal-arrest ta' Jorgen Fenech. Bżara jammetti li ma kienx il-pjan tal-pulizija li jirarrestaw lil Jorgen Fenech f'Novembru 2019, iżda kellhom jaġixxu meta kienu marfa li kien se jaħrab mill-pajjiż. L-avukat William Kuxkiri qed jidher għal De Giorgio, filwaqt l-avukati Alfred Abela u Rena Darmanin qed jidhru għall aħwa Aġus u għal Vella. L-avukati Jason Azzopardi u Therese Komodini Kakija qed jidhru għall familja Caruana Galizia, filwaqt l-avukat Vince Gallia qed jidher għall familja tal-avukat Kirkop.
After a long period of time now, this jury has started and evidence is starting to be heard in court.
So what you're saying, this trial is a combination of the two?
Yes, it is a combination of the two because it involves the same people, one in the murder of Dr. Carmel Kirkop and the other one in the supply of bombs from the Maksar brothers to Jamie Vella, who then passed on these explosive materials to the brothers De Giorgio and Vince Muscat, who blew up Daphne Caruana Galizia. So this is a corollary.
But the cases are not connected.
No, they're not connected. There is some evidence which obviously overlaps, and this is why the judge decided to hear the two together, but they are not connected in any other way except concerning the people who allegedly murdered Dr. Kirkop and who supplied the bomb for the De Giorgio brothers and Vince Muscat to actually execute Daphne Caruana Galizia. So it is still the early stages. The police started explaining Kurt Zara, the inspector gave evidence or started to give evidence concerning this crime. And they're saying and talking about the information, the initial information that they had received from some people who actually lived in Bidnija and saw the car exploding.
Sinjuri, issa sa naqsmu magħkom ftit servizzi ta' Net News.
4 ġil bdew għaddejjin ġuri quddiem l-imħallef Edwina Grima brabta ma' żewġ omiċidji. Dak tal-ġurnalista Daphne Caruana Galizia li seħħ fil-Bidnija f'Ottubru tal-2017 permezz ta' karozza bomba u l-qtil tal-avukat Karmel Kirkop li kien inqatel b'tir ta' arma tan-nar f'Ottubru tal-2015. Tnejn mill-akkużati huma l-aħwa magħrufin bħala tal-Maksar. Din hija l-ewwel darba fl-istorja li fl-istess ġuri l-akkużati qegħdin jidhru quddiem l-istess ġurija li ser tiġġudikhom fuq żewġ omiċidji separati. Adriana ta' 46 sena resident il-Mellieħa u ħuħ Roberta Ġus ta' 41 sena resident ir-Rabat qed jiġu akkużati flimkien ma' Jamie Vella ta' 41 sena li joqgħod il-Mosta u George De Giorgio ta' 62 sena residenti San Pawl il-Baħar. Preżenti fil-qorti fil-bidu ta' dan il-ġuri kien hemm fost l-oħrajn membri tal-familja ta' Daphne Caruana Galizia. L-avukat Anthony Vella mill-Uffiċċju tal-Avukat Ġenerali beda bil-indirizza lil ġurija preżenti l-istess ġurija li se tiddeċiedi jekk dawn l-4 ġiel u mhix ħatja jew le. U saħaq il-tir tal-prosekuzzjoni u l-issir ġustizzja mhux biss mal-vittmi u mal-familja tagħhom iżda wkoll mal-pajjiż kollu. U kompla jispjega li dak li ser tippreżenta l-prosekuzzjoni huwa frott investigazzjoni twila li rikjediet ħin u dedikazzjoni għal għan wieħed dak li ssir ġustizzja. Apparti minn hekk l-avukat Anthony Vella tkellem ukoll dwar kif il-prosekuzzjoni żgur li m'għandix ħin xtaħlet tipprova tinkrimina lil xi nies illi fil-fatt ma kellhomx jaqsmu ma' dawn l-atti krudili għalhekk sostna li dak li ser jiġi preżentat juri kemm l-iskop aħħari tal-allegati qattila kien biss li l-persuni li sfaw maqtula jiġu msikta. Qed jingħad il-ġuri mistenni jieħu madwar xarejn biex jintemm fejn hemm aktar minn 200 xut illi huma mħarka biex jixdu. Skont informazzjoni li għandu dan l-istazzjon jidher li l-ġimgħa ser jibdew jixdu numru ta' membri tal-RIU fih dan il-korp tal-Pulizija minħabba li l-ġuri ser ikun wieħed twil minn barra d-9 ġurati li ser riservu hemm 9 li nżammu bħala supplementari.
Issa il-ġuri tal-Maksar daħal għat-tielet jum tiegħu biex jgħidha li kien imiss kien Francis Sant, il-persuna li rat il-karozza bomba tieħu propju quddiem għajneh. Dakinhar tal-assassinju ta' Daphne Caruana Galizia nhar is-16 Ottubru tal-2017, Francis Sant kienet isuq mill-Mosta għal Bidnija u wara bajneh li l-vittma tippanikja u tajat hekk kif kienet fil-karozza, ftit tal-momenti biss qabel ħadet il-bomba. Huwa ta' x-xhieda tiegħu dwar l-inċident quddiem 9 ġurati li qed jisimgħu il-każ kontra żewġ irġiel li huma akkużati li fornew il-bomba, bomba li jintużat f'dan il-qtil. F'xhieda emozzjonanti li ta' Sant huwa rrimarka kif dakinhar kien innota xi ħaġa suspettuża, hekk kif karozza li kienet riesqa fid-direzzjoni tiegħu slowjat u resqet mal-ġenb tat-triq. Huwa tenna kif il-mara li kienet qed issuq li f'dak il-mument Sant ma rrealizzax min kienet tidher fi stat ta' paniku. Emozzjonat, Francis kompla jirrakkonta kif semaħħa tajjed mill-karozza tiegħu waqt li kellu twieqi mniżlin u f'dak il-mument il-karozza splodiet. Meta mistoqsi mill-prosekutur Godwincini x'għamel f'dak il-mument, Sant wieġeb kif hu weħel bidejh it-tnejn fuq l-isteering. Kien jinsab fi stat ta' xokk u ftit sekondi wara persuna oħra għaddiet bil-karozza tagħha. Francis spjega lil din il-mara x'kien għadu kemm esperjenza, hekk kif kien għadha kemm splodiet karozza bomba u li kien hemm mara f'din l-istess karozza u bekk talaba ċempel lill-pulizija. Sant kompla billi qal kif kien hemm partijiet tal-ġisem mal-art u anke tul it-triq u bekk beda jwaqqaf il-karozzi milli jibqgħu jisuqu minn fuq il-partijiet tal-ġisem qabel ma waslu il-pulizija fil-post. Carmel Wallis Sammut ta' x-xhieda tiegħu wkoll is-sibt filgħodu, residenti qrib il-post fejn il-hitman kienet josserva id-dar tal-ġurnalista fil-Bidnija. Dakinhar meta Caruana Galizia ġiet maqtula u wara karozza bajda. Karozza li sikwit kienet qed tkun fl-inħawi, tant li reġa' ra f'nofsinhar, ftit sigħat qabel ma sema l-esplużjoni. Meta mistoqsi jekk xi darba rax li sewwieq tal-karozza huwa qal li darba biss insertaħ u meta rah is-sewwieq inħasad. L-avukat Jason Azzopardi u Teris Komodini Kakija qed jassistu lill-familja Caruana Galizia f'dan il-każ, waqt li l-avukat Vince Gallia qed jassisti lill-familja Kirkop.
and also the investigation which took place with regards to Melvin Toma. They said they found an ice cream box with 2 USBs with information of the not correspondence of the discussions that took place between him and Jürgen Fenech, whilst he was taking him from one place to another, usually either from his home to the airport
Because
or
we
from
have to
the airport
remind our
to his home.
audience that Melvin Toma worked for Jürgen Fenech.
Yes.
For those people who don't.
He used to drive him around, take him to the airport, get him back, and it seems that they built a sort of friendship where they discussed even matters which are not normally discussed. And in this box, coincidentally, the police found a photograph of Melvin Toma with Keith Kembry at the office of the Prime Minister, with the background of a photo of Joseph Muscat with Keith Kembry. This is rather odd, isn't it? Having a photograph in a box where you've got 2 USBs with information. Why was it there?
What was his intention, do you think?
I don't know. I think, obviously, he's trying to involve third parties in the decision which had been taken to murder Daphne. Mm-hmm. But this is yet to be seen. This is yet to be brought to the fore. And these ice cream containers had this information. And Inspector Kurt Zara was giving evidence on what was contained in these ice cream containers, how he found them. But these are still initial stages which we still have to see how things are going to develop. But I believe that now we are going to start listening and hearing what I would describe the beef of the story. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, we only had snippets of what actually took place. Mm-hmm. But now, the real story is going to be divulged with all details for the public to see and hear what is going on in connection with these 2 trials together.
Mm-hmm. Let's clarify some points. These people are on trial, but the trial does not include Melvin Toma and Jürgen Fenech. That's completely separate. Is there a possibility that Melvin Toma and Jürgen Fenech will be called as witnesses?
I'm pretty sure that Melvin Toma will be called as a witness. But Jürgen Fenech, even if he is called, because he is going to be involved in another jury, which could incriminate him if he were to stand on the witness stand, most probably he'll plead that he is not in a position to give evidence and will have to be excused according to law. Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm pretty sure we'll hear Melvin Toma, we'll hear the Giorgio brothers, we'll hear Vincent Muscat, we'll hear other people who witnessed the murder, giving evidence. Obviously, then there are the experts, Dr. Martin Bayada, who collated the digital evidence in mapping out the movements and identifying the suspects. The FBI officials who were on site subsequently, seeing to the butts, cigarette butts, which were lying around in the area from where the bomb was detonated, and the DNA results where they connected these cigarette butts to the murderers. So, yes, it's going to be interesting evidence being collated during these coming weeks. We're thinking of a jury which is going to take about 8 weeks. This is going to be a long jury where there are 280 witnesses to be heard.
The period of an 8-week trial compared to the 7 years you mentioned before is nothing. Unfortunately, our system gives these quirks which are unacceptable in a modern society. We should not wait for 8 years to have a final judgment against an alleged murderer. So, yes, this will be all heard in court, and I was told this morning that Madam Justice Edwina Grima is insisting that evidence will be even heard on Saturday from 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening. Because she wants to conclude the case.
She wants to conclude the case in a timely manner.
Mm-hmm. However, that would not be the completion of the Daphne Caruana Galizia murder case yet.
No, it is not. This is only a sidekick, what I would call a sidekick. The trial of Jürgen Fenech, this still has to start, but obviously because the murderers bought the bomb from the Maxar brothers, which are the Ajus brothers, and Jamie Vella, then this is a corollary to what actually took place, which is being heard conjointly with Dr. Kirkop's jury. Don't forget, we had other investigations going along concerning the murder of Daphne Caruana Galizia, particularly the inquiry of the 3 judges, which put, I would say, indicted the state as being, and the cabinet of ministers under corrupt Joseph Muscat, responsible for her murder, responsible for Daphne's murder. And it is very telling, and I would like to quote from the said judgment, from the said report actually, not judgment, what the 3 judges have stated categorically on what they have found. And it is quite telling. The rule of law isn't just about punishment. It's about timely, transparent justice. Malta's case concerning Daphne Caruana Galizia's murder shows how fragile institutions can be when politics, business, and crime overlap. I think this is an indictment of a Labour government who was not capable of separating state duties from commercial commitments, from politics with a small p, mixed together only in the interest of the governing elite, instead of ensuring that these people be put behind bars and not let to demonize a woman who was doing her duty for her country in the best way that she could do it, in the interest of justice, in the interest of uprightness, in the interest of honesty, in the interest of integrity, in the interest of good governance. ultimately, our country has been shamed because we weren't able to protect a journalist who was doing her duty.
You mentioned politics, business, crime.
Erġa' segwi dan il-programm fuq Net on Demand.
It seems to me that this trial is tackling the crime part. When do you see these other trials proceeding to tackle the other two verticals, if we can say, that you've mentioned, politics and business?
I don't think we have actually heard the end of the accusations which have been meted out against Jürgen Fenech. Jürgen Fenech is not the only person who is to answer. He has to answer for paying 500,000 for Daphne's murder. But who sent as well, who asked Jürgen Fenech to pay this amount of money to the murderers? Was it his sole decision, or was this decision taken with other people in power? And I'm pretty sure there are the involvement of police officers, which we know today are no longer in the force, who were indirectly involved, passing on messages to the murderers by informing them that there was going to be a raid in Marsa, where they used to meet, by the police commissioner Kutayar meeting a certain man called il-ġuri and trying to get information when he was not involved in the process of investigation. There was the assistant commissioner Valletta, who was called Uncle Silvio by Jürgen Fenech's children. All these side stories build a very sorry state of our country, where what is right, or who has to defend us in what is right, seems to be close to all those that do wrong to our country, to our people, to what is conscientious, what is correct, and what should guide us. It's very strange that the police motto, Domine dirige nos, God directs us, seems that the devil is directing them. But in these circumstances, we hope that we've learned lessons which will move us forward in bringing a better system of doing politics in the right way, without the need of finance from politicians, without the need of resorting to crimes which only take away the dignity of our nation.
I mean, it's a very complex case. This is a complex case, but the Daphne case is even more complex. When do you see closure, and do you see a problem with our justice system? A lot of people have asked, if Jürgen Fenech is out on bail, there must be other people who have committed serious crimes who are also out on bail that we are not aware of. Is that safe for people in this country? And in general, do you see that it's a problem that people like Jürgen Fenech are out on bail?
The law is what it is. The law states that a person who is accused of a crime, where bail has been refused for him for 5 years, has a right to ask to be given bail after the 5-year period. Maybe one has to see why it's taken 7 years for this trial not yet to begin, because we don't know when Jürgen Fenech's trial is going to commence. I don't know any European country where a jury takes 8-10 years.
Even more. I've come across cases that are even more.
Yes, which is ridiculous. This is absolutely nonsensical. Defense teams have all the interest that procedures take long.
And the
for
problem
two
is
reasons.
some of the witnesses pass away, some of the witnesses are no longer available.
And people forget, evidence becomes convoluted, evidence gets lost, evidence won't be directed in the right fashion, but this is all strategy of the defense teams. Now, it is Parliament who has to change our laws. Parliament is there to protect the citizens. Parliament is there to protect the victims of crime. It seems that our laws tend to protect the accused more than the victims of crime. And this is not correct. This has to change. People are clamoring for change of our criminal law system. Because, as we've just stated, 7 years waiting for a trial is not acceptable in a democracy, not acceptable for the rule of law.
In your opinion, does this not concern you as a legal professional who is experienced and seasoned?
I don't particularly work in the criminal field.
No, you don't.
But it does concern me. It worries me. It seems that there is an imbalance between the rights of the accused and the rights of the public in general and the victims of the accused, the family of the accused. People want closure. Why should I wait 7 years to get closure on my mother's murder? This is just not right. It just doesn't make sense.
And in your opinion, what initiatives should be taken on a governance level?
Why should we have a procedure where a person is accused? Then there's the inquiry. Then there's the compilation of evidence. A lot of repetition of evidence instead of going to a trial with all the evidence that one has in hand. Why do we have to go through a process, repeating the process 2 or 3 times before we actually go for the jury? Europe has changed this system. It used to exist 100 years ago, 60 years ago. No longer so. Evidence is collated once and the jury takes place.
But why are we still behind in Malta? We're part of the EU.
Because our ministers of justice were all criminal lawyers. And it is in the interest of criminal lawyers to delay proceedings in the interest of their clients. Maybe it's high time that the Minister of Justice acts in the interest of the people instead of the accused.
Statistics show that a lot of these cases collapse after such a long period of time.
Of course, because people, there are 2 reasons why this happens. Because notionally, when somebody is called to the jury to decide whether a person is guilty or not on a crime which has taken place 10 years prior, one would subconsciously state, hasn't enough time passed? Who knows whether all the evidence is there available for us to understand? Hasn't he passed through enough pain waiting for his jury? As a matter of fact, this is the irony of it all, that although it takes so long to get justice, most of the accused, criminally accused, go to court and ask for compensation for alleged crimes they would have committed because they didn't get judgment in a timely manner. This is but nonsensical. But on account of judgments meted out by the European Court of Human Rights, this is the situation. So one obviously sees that the situation that we currently have is not a correct situation. We all should move towards timely justice and not protracted, long-winded justice. And I think the only people who can actually solve the situation are our MPs, who are there to pass laws which make sense in the world we are living in today. And we hope for the better. But as things stand today, I don't see it happening.
Thank you very much, Dr. De Bono, for speaking to us today.
Thank you.
Signori, grazzi li segwejtu il-programm illum fej tkellimna fuq il-proċess li għaddej bil-ġuri tal-każ tal-assassinju ta' Daphne Caruana Galizia. Jekk għandkom xi kummenti ibatuhom permezz tal-WhatsApp fuq il-numru li jidher fuq l-iskrin. Illum tkellimt ma' Dr. Edward De Bono jekk tixtiequ issegwu is-suġġett li tkellimna fuq illum segwu Net Live fuq Net TV. Jiena Lea Hogg għal Net TV u nixtieqilkom il-lejl tajjeb.